Hey guys, welcome to another TCB Naturals class with me, Tabitha from Craving Yellow. So today's topic is one that we have discussed severally on my page. It's the issue of edges. This one is so emotional to many of us. I know we are suffering. Guys, don't worry, I understand. I have been there, I have gone through some really crazy edges, and I have learned a lot along the way. Okay guys, so in this video, we're going to be doing two things. Number one, I'm going to be sharing with you my personal journey with my edges, just a short story, and then we're going to get into some really scientific terms to do with hair loss and balding. Okay, so I need you guys to pay attention. It's going to get a bit technical, but not too much. And remember, you can always supplement your research with Googling. You can always do a few more YouTube searches and see what you come up with when it comes to the topic of balding and hair loss. So let's begin with my personal journey. Now, guys, when you see my hair like this, we did not start here. That is something I've always emphasized when it comes to my personal hair journey. You guys saw where I began. I had very thin hair. It was very damaged. And over time, couple of years, okay, not months, not weeks, I've been able to grow my hair quite long, okay? But I will tell you, in the year 2017, I did have a span in which my edges were really disappearing. And I'm gonna show you guys some photos so you can see for yourself. And looking back now, I attribute it to stress and also just over styling my hair. Now you need to understand, I am genetically predisposed to disappearing edges, okay? So when you look at my family, or it's always good to look at your family tree. I get a lot of my hair genes from my mom. You guys have seen her on YouTube. If you look closely, her edges are indented, meaning the hairline goes into the crown of the head, okay? So it's more likely to bald or to appear to be balding rather than somebody with edges that, you know, sort of stick more out into their eyebrows. So, and I will insert a photo of like my grandma's hair, my mother's hair, so that you guys can have an idea of what I'm talking about. So already with that predisposition, here I was wearing these styles that are pulled back, okay, all my edges back to the end of my head. Hey, after a few months, wait, it was not even a joke. My edges were gone. My edges were really, really bad. So what I did is I consulted a trichologist friend of mine and we took on a treatment plan. Now this was a bit unconventional. You guys know I love my hair, so I was willing to go to all ends of the earth to get whatever help I needed. So what I did is that I embarked on a pretty interesting treatment journey. Now the first step that I took with my trichologist is to ensure that my follicles were actually still alive. I will tell you that actually, wait for the rest of the video, your follicles can actually be dead, okay? Meaning that no matter what you do, your hairline is not going to grow back. But we'll get to that at a later stage of the video. Don't worry too much about that. So what I did is PRP. I'll leave all the terminologies for you down below. And also I actually did a hair transplant, meaning I bought some of my hair follicles from the back of my head and I had them transplanted to my hairline. Okay, so that's a really extreme measure of hair care. And if you're interested, I can talk about that in another video because in and of itself, it is a whole universe of content. So we can discuss that later if you're interested. But for the sake of this video, let's get back into the basics of what exactly is hair loss. So take out your pen and paper. We're gonna get a bit technical. Let me also put the disclaimer that I am not a trichologist. I am not a healthcare professional. What I am sharing with you is well-known hair science. You can Google it online, you can learn more online, but whatever I prescribe is simply what I have learned online. I would encourage you to continue to do more research. Okay, that said, let's get into the first type of hair loss. Okay guys, so when you think about hair loss, you can think of it in three ways. There's effluvium, alopecia, and then we get more into sort of the hormonal, biological, things to do with like pregnancy, birth control pills, etc. Then of course there's the biological. You can actually have things growing on your head that lead to hair loss, but we'll get to that. Let's begin with alopecia. So I'm sure you've heard of traction alopecia. It's a very commonly used term, and what that basically means is that you start to experience hair loss, especially around your edges, because of really, really taut styles that are pulling at your hair follicles. So you start noticing that chunks of hair are falling out. Now this can be a pretty slow process. You might realize, like me, as I was mentioning earlier, that at the end of the year, you're like, hiya, where are my edges? It can be a very slow, slow and almost unnoticeable process. That's traction alopecia, caused by what? Stressing your hair follicles with mechanical stress, i.e. combing, i.e. wearing extremely tight extensions, i.e. wearing wigs with those combs, and then, combing the wig into your edges. Traction alopecia. Now, there's another type of alopecia that you need to know about, and that is alopecia areata. Now, this one is a bit trickier because it's actually an autoimmune disease, and what this means is that your immune system is attacking its own hair follicles, like as if it's an enemy. So it's killing them off, and it's it's within you. Your body is fighting itself. And what this can lead to is like chunks of hair falling off a lot. Like you're in the shower and you're just seeing chunks of hair. It can be really scary, guys. So many people who go through this need to see a medical doctor. I would say if you're experiencing this, if you've heard of somebody in your family or one of your loved ones experiencing this, please do go and see a medical doctor. It could be an autoimmune disease. But then there's another third type of alopecia. And this one, funny enough, is quite common. It's called androgenetic alopecia, and what this means is that hormonally over time you start balding from your crown going backwards. So you've seen the way guys bald. Maybe I'll put a picture somewhere here. You see the way they bald, and then they have this section of the crown remaining, and then the top, or rather not the crown, this section of the hair remaining, and then the crown is gone. Well, guess what? Even women can have female pattern baldness. So you might experience it as a woman in various parts of your head. It may not be just as men sort of recede, the way the hairline can recede. Or sometimes it actually starts from the middle of the head. You might find for a woman, you're losing your hair in patches, but this tends to happen after menopause. So sometimes it's actually linked to hormonal changes in the body to do with aging, etc. But some people, because of their genes, do experience this even by the age of 30. I know a couple of men who've balded. There's no hair on the scalp by the age of 30. So that's called androgenetic alopecia. So let's move into the next type of hair loss, which is called effluvium. So effluvium is a touchy one. The most common one that we've seen is anogen effluvium. So you've seen people who've gone through cancer, they go through radiation and chemotherapy, and then they lose their hair in large chunks. Like literally we've seen videos on the internet which are really heartbreaking of somebody waking up and they're literally pulling hair. It's on the pillowcase, like the hair is falling out in large chunks. So this type of hair loss is usually tied to obviously serious, like as I've said, very critical conditions, and can be treated, if at all, by seeing a medical doctor. So if you're experiencing this, please take some time, go and see your medical doctor. They'll be able to look into your body a lot more and prescribe the necessary medications, if any, that you can do to reverse that process. The second type of effluvium is experienced when the hair is actually supposed to be shedding, and that's the telogen phase. So remember, our hair sheds naturally. Our hair grows in spurts, and then, like by nature, it's supposed to fall off. Just the same way a leaf falls off the tree, okay? We can't keep the hair we've been growing since birth till the day we die. It doesn't happen like that. Over the course of your lifetime, you will grow hair out of your scalp, and it will naturally die and fall off, okay? That's a process called shedding. So when you have this type of hair loss, telogen effluvium, it basically means that during that phase of shedding, your hair just keeps shedding and shedding and shedding, like your hair stays in that phase. Can you imagine? So your hair is not reverting to previous, it's supposed to go in a cycle. It doesn't do that. It just keeps staying within that shedding phase. So you might find that you're really losing a lot of chunks of hair. And this might not only be on your scalp, it might be your eyebrows, your eyelashes, the hair on your hands. If you're a hairy person, you'll notice color. Today it's like I went for a waxing. It's that telogen effluvium that is happening to your body. So again, not to make light of these situations, these are medical conditions. You do need to see a doctor about them. Okay, so now that we've understood sort of the scientific side of things, let's look at more common, things we've had before that are associated with hair loss. So we have pregnancy, case in point, birth control pills. Ladies, we know that these things happen. These birth control pills, pregnancy, it affects our estrogen levels. And that change in hormonal levels is associated in some women, not in all. Some women are lucky. Some women don't have their edges don't disappear. But many pregnant women, I know even here, people have DM'd me telling me, you know what, Tabitha, I was pregnant. Now I gave birth. My hair has fallen off. My edges have gone. It's part of the process of your body rejuvenating itself. Oftentimes it corrects over time, but sometimes you might find that you do need to go to the doctor because you may be just lacking some minerals in your body, some vitamins, and they can't give you a boost that you can take orally, a pill, a multivitamin that can allow you to then regain some of that hair back. But remember, this process takes time. If your hair has fallen off because of anything hormonal, it's going to need time to recover. Your body is going to need time to regain a healthy hormonal level, and then after that the hair just starts growing at the same rate it always grows. So maybe it might even take up to 2 years, 3 years for you to see a restored hairline. Now, the last point I want to share with you guys when it comes to hair loss is sometimes there is actually something growing on your head, a fungus. So case in point, ringworm. Hey, I remember kids in primary school, they used to have ringworm on the head. Hey, you just see the hair is disappearing. Ringworm is one of those, what is it? Is it a fungus? Who's the chemist in the room? Tell me guys if it's a fungus or a bacteria down below. But it does affect your hair growth. So you might be experiencing that and you're wondering, why do I have like this random bald spot? It might just be a fungal infection and you need to get a topical treatment that then, does away with it. And then your hair will grow back eventually. So guys, in this video, we've discussed hair loss. I know it's been quite technical, but I hope you've learned a thing or two. Remember guys, balding, losing your edges, there are so many factors involved. It could be something mechanical, it could be something hormonal, it could be something biological, it could be something to do with your immune system. So before you go jumping into conclusions, buying liters and pounds of castor oil and lathering them on your edges, maybe see a doctor, especially if it's a reason for concern. You've noticed a big change suddenly. You will need to see a doctor to see, what exactly is going on. And believe you me, they have the tools and the techniques to be able to assess your body and give you the right prescription. I would even recommend cross-checking information between different specialists, whether it's a dermatologist, a general practitioner, a trichologist, etc., to make sure that you get really a well-rounded perspective on what could be causing your edges or your hair to disappear. So guys, that is it. Leave me your questions down below. As I said, I am not a medical doctor, but I will do my best to answer your questions as best as I can, as truthfully as I can. I would encourage you to also check other parts of the internet. There's a lot of information that is available to you. But I hope you've enjoyed the class. I'll be here very soon, but between now and then, and as always, I am sending you so much love and sunshine.